Next, we're going to move on to the District 5 election.
So this was scheduled for tomorrow, but we do have time, and we do have our candidate here, Emily Arneson. So I will refer you to the materials, which begin at page 607. And so I guess we can start with Emily giving maybe an initial statement, and then we can move to questions.
Thank you. Thank you all for having me today. I appreciate the time to address all of you. I submitted some materials for your consideration, and I know some of my colleagues have submitted some letters of recommendation as well. So I won't rehash what all of those say, but I will just be available for any questions that you may have. Just know that I would be very honored and excited to join you to represent the folks in Eastern Washington. I've spent most of my life here in Eastern Washington and most of my practice in Eastern Washington, and have quite a lot of experience with the Spokane County Bar Association, most recently as its president. My term just ended last Saturday, I think, as the president. So quite a lot of experience there, and I would love to bring that to the BOG. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Does anyone have any questions for our candidate?
Yeah, that's true. Let's go.
What should I do? Oh,
Sorry, if someone is
Governor
speaking,
Ahern.
anyone. Okay.
Okay, not to cause problems or anything, especially now that I know my friend Governor Flood is biting my head off on something else too. But could you just briefly tell us, why do you want to do this?
Absolutely. I'd be happy to. That doesn't cause any problems at all. I would be happy to do that. I was thinking earlier today what I might say to all of you and ask that question, because there's so many different answers. And I don't want to take up your entire afternoon, but I think what I came down to is there hasn't been a time in my career of 14 years now practicing law when I haven't been involved in some form of bar association, usually two or even three at once, as either a volunteer, as a trustee. I consider it to be part of my responsibility as an attorney. I'm honored to do it. I also think I have a good breadth of experience. I've been in private practice. I've been working for several different government agencies as well. And I think I have a perspective that can be really valuable. So on the one hand, I see it as a responsibility, something that I can give back to the community at large and also the community of my fellow members of the Bar Association. So I see it as a responsibility. I also see it as an opportunity to present some perspectives that can be useful. As I said before, I'm very proud to be from Eastern Washington. Most of my life I've spent here, and I would love to represent the interests of us over here on this side of the Cascades.
Thank you. And I have a question. What do you see as the biggest challenge or challenges facing the bar today?
I know that there are many, because there are many challenges facing our industry, and so therefore many challenges facing the bar. It's kind of a difficult question to answer without having any of the inside knowledge of what you all have been doing. But from my perspective, I have sort of several different areas I'm particularly interested in and that I think that the bar should be paying attention to specifically, which you already are. And I'm happy to hear that. But one of them is member well-being. I'm particularly interested in member well-being. I was very glad to be appointed to the task force a few months ago that this board created, and we've been working very hard. We have a meeting on Monday, which I'm looking forward to talk more about our survey that we will be sending out to the members and reporting back to you all next spring, and then ultimately making recommendations the year after. Member well-being, I think, is something that's critical. We've known for many years that lawyers are not happy, they're not healthy. We've known this and haven't been able to find the combination of things to make it better, not just in Washington, but nationwide. I think that we have a lot of opportunity and obligation for our members. We're telling people how great it is to be a lawyer, telling young kids that they can do wonderful things as lawyers. And then what are we doing when they get here to support them mentally, physically, emotionally, all of those things. So I'm particularly interested in that. I also think that we stand at a really important place in our industry with respect to artificial intelligence, generative AI, and machine learning. And I think that's something that is already here, as we all know. People are using it, as someone mentioned in one of the previous presentations about the entity, the sandbox idea of entity regulation. It's here and people are using it, whether we are doing something or not. And I think we have an obligation to recognize that, to do something about it. But I also think it has tremendous potential if, with the right guardrails put on it, to really expand access to justice in ways that we can't do just with the population that we have of attorneys that we have and the time that we have, as we have seen again from the other presentations about caseloads and things like that. So those are kind of two areas that I think are particularly interesting and need some intentional focus. And I would love to be part of those.
Thank you so much. Anyone else have any questions? Director Nevitt, should we proceed to a vote?
Yes. So quick note on process. So in your materials at page 607, there's a memo that indicates that we will do the election through a secret paper ballot. I've consulted with general counsel. The particular bylaw provision that governs this election is silent on how the election should take place. There are certainly areas in the bylaws where it calls for a secret written ballot, but since the bylaws are silent in this provision, we think it's not required. And if there are no objections, given that we only have one candidate, I think we could just do this via voice vote. Are there any objections to that?
General counsel is winning me over with that argument. I love it.
Yeah. With respect to our candidate, Emily Aronson, I would like to hear by voice vote, all in favor of having her assume the role of District 5 governor, say aye, or raise your hand. Are there any nays or noes? Any abstentions? Okay. Well, you are declared the District 5 governor. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I am honored and look forward to working with you all.
Yeah, I think that's the next question.
So Emily, I also did hear you might have some scheduling limitations, but we will be swearing in our governors this afternoon at about 4:45. We can swear you in as well if you are available. If you are not available, we can make other arrangements.
I can try. I have to drive to Spokane from Cheney, and then I have about 15 minutes before I have to pick up my daughter from volleyball and take us all to the football game where my other daughter's playing in the pep band. So, but I think I can time it right. I will do my best to be there at 4:45. I'll be back.
All right, there is another concern. Am I recognized?
Yeah, yes, you are recognized. But only if you use the mic.
The meeting continues tomorrow. There are votes that needed to be done tomorrow. There is no District 5. There is no District 5 governor until you are sworn in. And hopefully, if you get sworn in tonight, I hope you will be able to attend tomorrow's meeting by Zoom so that you'll be able to vote on some of the issues that we have pending. I will no longer be able to vote since you are going to be sworn. So I would encourage you, please attend tomorrow's meeting.
I was planning on it, Francis.
Thank you.
Just to clarify, because I got another question about this. Although we swear folks in this afternoon, the terms don't start until after the meeting. So you are still on the hook to vote tomorrow, as is Governor Sayani and anyone else who was curious about that. So District 5 will not go unrepresented. And yet, Emily, hopefully the timing will work out for you.
Yep. So now we're going to take a break until until Chief Justice comes to swear in our officers. So we're on break now for.
We're hoping to start about 4:45, but we were going to start promptly at 4:45. So maybe get back here about 4:40.